Visit them. They are observant Jews, or Orthodox Jews, if you will, and therefore they don't use electricity one day a week from sunset on Friday, because in the Jewish calendar, days begin at sunset, not at midnight, until sunset or dark of the next day, of Saturday night. So for 24, 25 hours, they don't use electricity. That means no social media. So this is what I see when I visit my son's house. I feel that I'm transported via a time machine into the 1950s, where all I see, or I guess 60s or 70s, but you get my point, or if you will, 1940s, 30s, 20s, all I see is a whole bunch of kids. One is 13 and one is, 8? And they have a house filled with friends their age from school, and all they're doing is playing. None of them is watching a screen. They're just playing with each other. You don't see that much today. Even when kids do get together, they're often looking at their phones or looking at a screen on a tablet or perhaps at a desktop computer, or watching something on a big screen. But there's none of that. They are just playing. The ill effects of social media are obvious. I'm giving you perhaps a less obvious bad part, not relating to real people. When I was a kid, when you were a kid, if you wanted a diversion, so you had a hobby, which kids do not have today. They don't have hobbies, generally speaking. They're not, boys are not building radios or building computers or building even just model ships. My brother used to put model ships together. I mean, there were so many hobbies. I had stamp collecting and coin collecting and listening to radio broadcasts from around the world on a shortwave radio. I mean, I had so many hobbies. I still do. So, and then there's, what did you do? You called up your friend. If you wanted to relate, you called up a friend. The big problem when I was a kid was parents was saying, oh, my daughter, she spent so much time on the phone with her friends. Parents would yearn to have that problem today. Oh, my daughter, she's talking to human beings too much. That's not a danger. It really shows how generations don't appreciate it, totally understandably. She's on the phone too much. That's not, it doesn't happen now. They text. By the way, I'm a big fan. I'm not a radical. I'm a big fan. I text a lot. I think it's a great thing. But God knows how much I relate to people. Listen, I can't believe there's no relationship between the lack of relating to people and the following statistic. What is it? 25% of Americans aged 40 and younger, 40, have never been married, by far more than ever in American history. Arguably, maybe more than in human history. So I'm just giving you a secondary. The primary problem is the stuff that they will be watching, but the secondary and related is the not relating to people. So what do parents do? They have to limit the time. And they would have to figure out a way, because obviously they don't have a traditional Sabbath where, that Orthodox Jews have. 99% of the society doesn't have that. Although it is worth considering of having a day taken away. But Here is why religion is so important. If my son had told his two sons, you can't use social media for 24 hours, one day every week, it would have been a battle in the house. But saying, hey, God wants us to observe a Sabbath, and on our Sabbath we don't do that, there was no fight. God and religion are a big help for good things.